today we're going to dive in and talk about some interesting newer finds in Dynamics 365 for sales. I'm going to talk about Deal Manager, Kylie's going to talk about Conversational Intelligence, and Malcolm's going to teach us about forecasting. So I'll get this started with the Deal Manager. Deal Manager is in preview mode, and it does require a Dynamics 365 Premium or Enterprise license for sales in order to see it. I couldn't find any general availability date listed in documentation, which I don't understand, but it's a really cool addition to the sales app, and I thought it was really neat. So this is a screenshot. You can play around with it in Sandbox, but like every preview feature, they wouldn't recommend putting this into your production instance just yet because it's a preview feature. So I'm going to do a bit of a demo in a moment. I just want to show you a quick preview of it. I found enabling Deal Manager to be more complicated than expected. Maybe that's because it is something that's in preview right now. So you have to go to make.powerops.com and you have to edit your sitemap. There's two areas to add in your sitemap. You have to add them both as type of URL, and then the URLs are here along with Microsoft Doc resources. So I'll put those in the chat of the video or in the notes of the video so you can take a look at them. But once you follow all of these steps, you end up with a glorious demo that looks like this. So this is the Sales Hub, and again, I just added those two URL sub areas to my sitemap. They're Deal Manager, which is here, and Deal Manager Settings. I thought the settings area was interesting. You can restrict it to specific security roles. So if you wanted to come in here and make sure that only your sales team can see it, you can add that there, which is nice. There's JavaScript libraries if you want to add some custom code to make it do things that it doesn't do out of the box. And I liked the part down here where you can manage the charts. So you're not stuck with how Microsoft thinks you'd like these charts. You can see there's the deal tracker, which is a bubble chart, and the sales funnel. If you click the arrow here, you can change some of these things, which is cool. Not your chart type, you're stuck with that. But there's also the tooltip field. So I'll go back to the Deal Manager and show you what that looks like. But when you hover or click on one of those bubbles, it's going to give you a preview of the information, and you can update what those are, which is nice. You can add your custom columns in there or anything that might make more sense to your team. So back at Deal Manager, here's our tooltip. So when I hover over this, it gives me all those fields that we were just looking at, which you have the ability to customize, which is always nice. It's also got a summary up here. And of course, this is all based on your security roles. So you'll see your funnel here if your security is set up that way. And then you can change this from a combo to just a list. If you don't like the bubbles, you can just see everything in a list view. You can also edit your metrics over here. You can create new metrics. Lots of cool things you can do. And then I liked at the bottom too. I know this is a little small, but it gives me an average here by default of my probability and my estimated revenue. But if you click here, you can see all these different ways to look at your numbers. So the sum, how many do I have, the min and the max, and same with the estimated revenue column here. So I thought those were cool. Those are the neat things that I found about Deal Manager in my quick review of it and just implementing it in a demo environment. What do you think about it, Kylie?
That's really interesting. I haven't had a chance to play with it. I've kind of just seen the screenshot that you showed, but it's really cool. So each of those dots or each of the bubbles is one opportunity, right? Yeah. So when you hover over it, you're seeing the details of that opportunity. Oh, that's kind of cool.
And when you click on it, it gives you this little fun. I should have showed you this too. So it gives me a little bit of information about the opportunity. Not only does it just show me that, I can quick create a task from here, right? Like I can start to say like, follow up with, who is this? Kelly. It's not Kelly, I just wrote me. And then it just gives me all that. Now I can come in and edit the task and then put due date. So it's a really like quick create form. You don't even pick like some of the fields there. So that was a neat thing I thought too. And I like how when you click on something, it pops it up like this instead of opening the whole record. You can add your changes or anything that you want. Having save and close, and it kind of goes back where it was.
That's really cool. And the things that you can configure is that like, so like right now it's showing my bubble size based on my revenue, and I could change that to be based on maybe probability or based on some other field, if that makes sense.
Cool. Yep, you would come over here and then you could change your bubble size. It's pretty neat.
Cool. That's really cool. I think it would be something like salespeople love that, right? If they can look there and just see their opportunities and see who the biggest fish are, that's great.
It's a cool way to visualize things. And I like that there's capabilities like this embedded, hopefully, natively into Dynamics in the future.
And can I change it to be not opportunities, or it's still always opportunities?
It's always opportunities.
Right now.
For now, always opportunities. And everywhere it's telling you this is a preview. Don't put this in production yet. We know it's cool, but so maybe there's more. It says in this little disclaimer here, it provides limited support for customization. So it would be really interesting to see where they take it in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really interesting because I think some of it reminds me of like customer insights and sales insights and those kind of features, and how those are now like getting more embedded into kind of the core product. So it's just really interesting to see how that's growing and improving. So that's really great. Thanks for sharing.
Sharing is caring. All right, Kylie, on to you.
Cool. So something that I was interested in the release notes that came out, I don't know, now a couple months ago, I guess, was conversational intelligence. So this was listed as a part of the sales app, sales functionality. And there's kind of a few main features to that, right? Capturing our customer interactions. It talks about transcribing our phone calls, but also being able to drive analytics from those and adding rich search to those phone calls. And then being able to collaborate on those, the insights that come out of that, right? So there's supposed to be, we'll be able to automatically generate insights based off this transcript, and then within the transcript and within these insights, we can mention other people, we can assign tasks and kind of comment and do cool things within there. So if we go to the next slide, this is just the kind of screenshot that they're showing. And you'll be able to see that we have our transcript of the call on the right-hand side, and along the bottom, you can see kind of the call progression, like the time of the call. And you see some different colors because it's monitoring the sentiment of the call. So you could pinpoint a place where the person you're talking to had a negative sentiment, or maybe even where, the employee said something that came across negative, look for training opportunities there. So lots of cool stuff. I think this is interesting because it's very similar to some functionality we've seen released on the customer service omni-channel side. So I think that's basically what I call out on the next slide, is that, as we're learning about this, I think what we can do is take a look at where similar functionality to like this is already available, such as sales insights and in customer service in the omni-channel. There isn't too much information about it being available in sales, but there's more information about it being available in those other areas already. So that's kind of where I think we should be looking to figure out what we can expect here. So I'll put some of those links in with our description. But this is, was just announced, but will be available for preview in May and is planned for general availability in September. So we have a little bit of time to prepare, but we can get excited.
This is so cool. I'm going to go back to the slide because this is really neat. So this shows up right on that phone call record in real time.
There's a lot happening right here.
That's a lot. Goodness, managers are going to love this.
I know. And I haven't had a chance to play with it in omni-channel, but I know, the demo for it is really great because you can just see, not just capturing like these insights like we're talking about, but being able to, even as the call person, the call center rep or your salesperson, right, being able to go back through and check the transcript and make sure that they got all the takeaways, make sure they handled things correctly. And I'm also seeing that longest monologue there, talking about calling out if you're spending too long talking and not letting the other person talk and things like that. So I'm
That's
curious about the kind of automatic insights that are going to come out of this and how configurable those will be. Because I think we will have the opportunity to configure those. I just don't know how hard that's going to be or what that's going to look like yet.
Yeah, it's interesting at the bottom where it's kind of got the bars. It even notices when your greeting and intro happen to kind of block that off. That's really cool.
Yeah.
This is neat. I wonder if you'll be able to embed this with like a call script for your call agents too.
That's a good question. I wonder if we can do that in sales or if that's only in customer service. I think we need to play with it on both sides and see where it's different.
Yeah, I mean, this could be awesome for people that are using inside sales to kind of pre-qualify leads for the sales reps and be able to see all of that. This is cool. Yeah. I'm excited about this one too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's why you see it in the release notes and you're like, this will be awesome. We need to talk about it. Do we know what it's going to do? No, but we know it'll be awesome.
The screenshot's awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Kylie.
Thank you.
Malcolm, do you want to talk about forecasting?
Yeah, I'd love to. I don't have all the fancy screenshots and everything that you guys do, because a lot of the things that I was looking at from the forecasting perspective are all future wave release stuff. But it's a big deal for us because a number of our projects have focus around the importance of forecasting and the ability for those insights and for managers to have, some actual tangible data to work with in terms of where their company is going and where their sales are headed and what issues might be and blockers might be in the way. So the forecasting stuff that they're talking about, it's very clear that they're rolling out added resource and really investing in the forecasting tool to give managers that added ability to have those insights. I think the two things that caught my eye the most are, and I'll be transparent, I'm looking at the doc so I don't forget what to say, but they're adding in the ability to assign attributes to improve the predictive analytics, which is key, right? So predictive analytics are great, but if they're based on just small elements of data, they're not going to be as solid as they are if they're consuming large amounts of data. And so the more data points that they have to help with that analytic and predictive model, the more accurate they're going to be. And that doesn't do anything but help companies, right? And then the other piece is the ability, they're rolling in annual and weekly forecasts, right? So they're giving you the ability to drill in, really get granular and say, hey, let's look at our weekly forecast and really stay on top of things. And maybe you're in a sales cycle that's a little bit longer than that, and the weekly isn't as important, and it's, you want to look at maybe monthly or something like that, all the way out to an annual forecast, which is really, really important. So those are the features that caught my eye as we're looking at like, hey, what's coming that's really exciting. To me, it's all about the fact that they're investing so heavily in the ability for companies to see where they're going so that they can proactively act against that and say, hey, look, we're going to be in really bad shape 8 months from now. We better do something about it, as opposed to getting 8 months down the road and realizing that they should have done something 8 months ago. That's what caught my eye. I guess that's about it, eh?
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's neat to see. There's so much to cover. So I look forward to doing more of these with you guys, because it's just little tidbits of information. We hope you join us if you're watching. Just little blasts of information to kind of help point people in the right direction and be like, hey, did you know that this thing's coming? That's how I learn the best. So hopefully it's helpful for you too.